Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom. Happy Wednesday. I'm going to root for a second and go to my I need to get to my Facebook page because I want to read something to you.
Okay.
This is a memory from 2013, December 12th, 2013.
Okay.
Little known fact. I was on shortlist for Time's Person of the Year, but after coming in second in People's Sexiest Man Alive contest, they were afraid winning might go to my head. So I've been on this campaign for 8 years. You would think that it would have netted something.
Well, maybe you're moving up the list. Hard to
How
tell,
many
right?
humans are there and what percentage are male? I'm on that low end.
Well, I mean, you're probably one of a small handful of people who actually are out there
campaigning
for it. So that reduces the number. Like, I'm not campaigning for it. So the likelihood you will get it ahead of me is, and I'm probably in the majority. So that makes your options a whole lot, your percentages a whole lot less.
Okay. All right. Good.
Daunting.
Good. All right. Good. I feel
it's
better.
Nice to know that you're consistent. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily pod and broadcast, where we try to provide we have a conversation around a topic, and this week's topic is valuing others' hour. And at the end, we will offer our one thing, our antidote, that will help you hopefully today or maybe somewhere down the line. So if you have things you would like to share as we go through this discussion, that would be great. Or if you have one thing at the end, please feel free to put it in the comments if you are watching this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or LinkedIn Live.
LinkedIn Live.
Please feel free to join us, participate in the conversation. If you are listening to this on our podcast, or now I understand that you can also watch it on a podcast.
There are video podcasts now on Spotify.
So is that a podcast or a broadcast?
I don't have an answer for you, Tom. You're making me feel old again.
Maybe that's something we need to delve into, or not. It's just a matter of, can they comment, given that they can see us? So that's an interesting thing that Spotify now allows you to have video. Yeah. And I would imagine, are one of the first few.
We're among the first adopters of that. That's right. People are seeing us. Yay, look at us on Spotify video.
Maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe that'll change your perception.
I've always said you and I have a face for radio.
Well, it's interesting. Do you ever read a book?
I have read books. Yes.
Thanks.
I've even written books, Tom.
Fair.
Have you written a book?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
And I feel like I've written in a book in LinkedIn over the last 2 years. And reading those books, you ever have like a picture in your head of a character?
Oh yeah.
And then they do the movie and the character doesn't line up with what you were expecting.
Yes.
Maybe that's it. They've been listening to us and now they're looking and they're like, that was not what I was expecting.
That's it.
So, always those things to consider. So if you are listening to that, please feel free to like or rate our podcast.
Please. 5 stars.
Yes, 5 stars. Did you go and confirm that 5 stars is the rating system?
I know it to be true. I don't need to confirm it.
Okay, great. We were having a conversation yesterday with someone that was saying, well, what happens if the rating system is only 3 stars and all this time you've been saying 5? So Bob is confident that it is a 5-star system. So we hope that if you are finding value in this, you will rate us 5 stars. So, as we kick off every morning, Bob, what are you celebrating?
You're probably hearing creaking in the wood floor at my house. I can hear it in the background, but hopefully it's not too loud.
Okay.
I am celebrating the unexpected holiday party. So I got home. I traveled back to my home yesterday from the beach, and I was driving my wife to a party, and one thing led to another, and I got to hang out with her colleagues, and it was just one of the most enjoyable evenings I've had in a long, long time. Just hanging out, goofing off, and it was completely unexpected, and we had things that we were supposed to be doing, holiday shopping, and I could have gotten really frustrated, and I didn't. I was just like, hey, I'm going to roll with it. And so I'm celebrating the fact that I had a really great time, but also that I didn't do my usual. We made plans. We committed to these things. We're not following our commitments. So
interesting. So
I'm not sure that makes sense to anyone but me, but.
Well, I didn't. You were driving your wife to a party that you didn't know about? I didn't follow.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I took her to I didn't know about it before, and it just worked out. I'm like, hey, let me take you to this party, and then afterwards we'll go do our Christmas shopping. And she said, all right. She was only going to stay for a little while, but I found a parking place in this area, and it was easy. And I walked in and said, do you want me to pay the meter, or are you thinking we're going to leave? And she said, I'm not going to leave. Really having a good time. Why don't you sit down and have a drink? I'll buy you a drink. So I paid the meter and came and sat down, and we were there for, I don't know, an hour and a half longer.
So you crashed the party, basically.
I did in a way, yes. But it was interesting because I must have done it well, Tom, because they invited me to their employee party that is Thursday.
So you got invited to another party.
Yes. This is not the Bob I know from high school or college.
You're getting invited to a lot of parties.
Bob in demand. Pretty exciting.
Well, good for you. Congratulations.
I'm not like you, Tom, where everyone paid attention to you in college and high school because you were Mr. Athlete, Mr. All-America, and
I haven't gotten invited to any holiday parties, so
okay,
which I'm okay with. I'm all right with.
Okay,
I can do other things, which is great.
What are you celebrating?
So mine's going to be a little odd, I think. So last night I got not roped into. We were watching the Hallmark Channel. I actually like the Hallmark Channel. So we were watching this movie that came on, and I got roped into the show, the movie, what was going on, the storyline and whatever.
What was the major plot point?
The major plot point is what I'm going to celebrate.
Okay.
And encourage others to consider. And everyone else went to bed. So I was up watching this movie until whatever time. And the major plot point was one character bought 5 special Christmas cards that they were going to send to their significant other one each day leading up to Christmas. Well, in true Hallmark Channel fashion, they were going out to dinner at this place that everyone calls the proposal. I forget what the other part of it was, but I guess where everybody goes.
Oh, was this the Christmas proposal?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Although funny that similar themes. So as it turns out, which typically happens with these early in the show proposals, it's actually a breakup. Yeah. And the guy decides to break up with this woman.
So sad.
So she then realized she had these 5 Christmas cards, holiday cards to send. And what she chose to do was pick 5 people who had a significant impact on her life and send them out.
Aw.
Yeah. And so the whole story, to not give it away, wraps around those people and, how they all related to this other person. And
did one of them end up being her new boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
In a roundabout way. It wasn't exactly someone she sent the letter to. And I just was really the concept of thinking about who are the 5 most important people. And so a little bit last night while I was watching this, I was celebrating the 5 not most important, but 5 people who had a significant impact on my life. And I sort of got the idea of like, maybe I should send a note to those people. And wouldn't that be an interesting, nice way to recognize their impact in my life.
Well, I can speak to it. Take a couple seconds. I've taught probably 3,000 college and high school students in my life. Every now and then, I'll run into one of them, or someone will send me a LinkedIn message or something, and they'll say, you made a real impact. You changed my life. Like, there's a woman that's a doctor. She's actually the doctor of my niece and nephew, pediatrician. I taught her high school. And I got really sick during that year teaching high school, and that made her want to become a doctor. And she is amazing with the kids. She's just, and
Awesome.
to have that impact on people, that's a case where I know it.
Sure.
I don't know how many people you've affected because we don't often share that. So I love that idea. And also the effort to pick those 5 people and limit it to 5. Not that you have to limit it, but
Right.
that I would think everyone's got 5 people that they can go, wow, this person profoundly affected me. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. I had an English teacher in 11th grade who said, you're a really good writer. You should join the school paper. That started my career.
Yeah.
That was the thing for me.
And I think for me, one of the, I was going to say sad, but I don't know that it was sad, is that when I think back on some of those people, many of them are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And so that is I go back and think about, I'm not sure I really shared the impact that they had on my life with them. And that maybe is the sad part. And so it got me thinking about maybe we should all think about doing that, is letting those people know how much of an impact they had on our lives before we don't have the opportunity to do it. So it's a long-winded, roundabout way to get to me celebrating the 5 people who have had a significant impact on my life.
So, Tom, we've got some comments coming in already. I'm not sure what this is all about. Happy birthday. I don't know what birthday he's talking about because there's no one's birthday today.
Frank's, he's
From
just likes to
John,
celebrate.
we have, oh, nice. Now I'm hurt. I think he's upset that I had a really great evening out last night and he wasn't a part of it.
He was a little jealous,
like
maybe.
A knife. I'll pay for that all day. I thought me and Bob had a great evening. And then Bob changed my life. That also from John. I'm not sure if he's being facetious or serious. So I'm going to take it in the facetious way because it's always fun to say a big word like facetious. But let's get to what the big celebration today is, Tom.
What's the nation celebrating?
It is National Cat Herding Day.
Cat herding day?
You've heard the phrase, it's like herding cats, right?
Yeah, but I don't think anybody ever herded cats. I thought that was just a phrase.
Well, that is a turn of phrase, but it's when you have to get people who are going in separate directions to come together and go in a direction. This often happens when you're having a discussion around what should we have for dinner tonight. Someone says Thai food and someone says Chinese food and someone says Italian. Someone says I'd like a pizza. And then you have to get everyone all gathered together going in the same direction, herding cats. Or you'll see an example of that today, Tom, probably at 3:30 if I'm not mistaken.
Well, maybe not. Bob and I have a meeting that we're attending for those people.
But it's National Cat Herding Day. So
which is
I did look to see if there was actually the effort to herd cats, like it was a real thing,
yes.
But there's not. No.
So you're celebrating a phrase.
You're celebrating the idea that there are people who herd cats.
Right. It's a concept.
It's a concept, yes. I know you're saying in your head, why isn't Renegade Day approved already?
This is one of those ones that, it would be different if people actually herded cats.
Yeah.
Or if it was like herding sheep, because people do herd sheep.
Yes.
Maybe someone who has a lot of cats actually herds cats, but I like the saying goes, I don't think it really is possible. Cats just kind of do their own thing.
Well, I think that's what it really is all about.
Yeah.
Well, it was either that. It's also National Cupcake Day, but that seemed boring.
Cupcakes and boring in the same phrase? What? Why would you say that?
Well, I wanted to go with something fun. I'm sure if you look at the mainstream media, they're talking about National Cupcake Day. Al Roker's probably eating a cupcake right as we speak while he gives the weather forecast. No, you checked in with Al?
Al is on a UPS truck helping deliver packages this morning in Connecticut.
You got way too much time on your hands between the Hallmark movie and Al Roker's movements.
I just, Tom,
the dinosaur who watches network TV.
Today's show was on as I was getting ready, and Al Roker getting out of a big brown truck trying to carry and deliver things was intriguing for a minute or two.
So I want to go with one more comment. This from John, really touching. Seriously, Bob has had a huge impact on my life. That's very kind, incredibly kind.
Yes.
And so I guess it wasn't facetious. And Tom, we should get to our topic because we are not valuing others' hours if we don't.
You don't think our conversation today has had value? I did this whole sharing about the 5 most important people or most influential
that
people
really, you're right. You're right. Well, maybe we should just stop the show now and move on.
No, we're going to talk about our topic. We already teed it up.
Right.
Our topic today, or actually our topic this week, is valuing others' hours, as Bob was alluding to. And today we're going to focus on requests. On Monday, we talked about meetings. Yesterday, we talked about emails. And today, we're going to talk about requests. Would you like to kick us off on this conversation, Bob?
Yeah, I think when we request something from someone else or when they request something from us, we need to be respectful of their time. One of the things that I've coached some leaders on and also employees on is if you are giving an employee an assignment, I want you to do this thing. First question is to ask them, what else are you working on? Because often, and I've done this as a leader, I'm in the vacuum of, I've got a great idea. I want you to deal with this thing right now. But they're already working on 3 other things. Often it's like, really? Now I got one more thing to do. They're all priorities. How do I deal with that? I also coach employees on the other side, which is if someone makes a request of you, say to them, okay, I've got these 3 other things I'm doing. Which is the priority?
Sure.
And having that discussion. So those requests, just saying, do this thing for me, doesn't quite cut it. The other thing I would say about requests is I'm much more apt to respond to a request when I understand where it fits into what we're doing. Whatever that doing is. Not all the details. Like, we had budget shortfall last year and we have to do this because it's going to increase the revenue by 1%. But understanding the big picture enough to say this fits, because I think we often don't do that as leaders. How many times, Tom, as you as a leader, have you gone to a meeting, come out of the meeting and been like, I need to explain to my employees how we're doing this thing now. And then you go to the next meeting. Before you know it, the day's over. You never explained it to them. And the next day they're coming in and the rug has been pulled out. Things have been changed. And they don't have that knowledge that you acquired in that meeting. And so request absent what's going on around them don't get the same, response as, hey, as you all know, we're trying to get the books closed before the end of the year. So if you could get the invoices out to people a little sooner, that would really help. Oh, okay. Versus, hey, I need you to get the invoices done this week. There's a difference there. And I think it's trusting people with more information and also valuing their time and your time. And valuable time to me is explaining to someone what's really going on, big picture, rather than just, your job is to work at the front desk. Okay, great. You work at the front desk. You're the first person people see in the company. You are the face of our company. If you look tired, if you look bored, if you're playing on your phone, you hurt everyone else's chances in this building. All 172 other people are counting on you to make the great first impression. Now you're at the front desk and you actually are like, whoa, I matter. And that's valuing their time, right? Because you're saying your time and what you do is valuable to what we are doing as an organization.
So one of the things I was thinking about as you were talking about that, just to make it interesting, I'm going to flip that on you a little bit.
Go for it.
So there are others out there who don't want the big picture. Who, this is my responsibility. What are the tasks you want me to do? Just let me know and I'll do them. And actually feel like you are not valuing their time when you then proceed to spend however long explaining the big picture and why this matters and why it's important, when all they want to do is get to the task and get it done, because that's what they were asked to do. So I think that I agree with what you are saying, that there is real value and that people are more engaged and connected when they know the bigger picture. And I think also in understanding that everyone is unique, there are others who don't want that or don't want you to explain how to do it because they feel like it's their job and they know how to do that.
But I didn't say explain how to do it. I explain where it fits into the big picture.
Sure. Even that, I think sometimes it's like the backstory, which is interesting. How many times do you give a Christmas or a gift? We don't have to say Christmas, give a gift, and then proceed to give the backstory about the gift. Well, I thought of this, that, and people are like, can I just open up the gift? I mean, the backstory is fascinating for you, and it might have some interest for me, and I really want to open the gift. So I agree. I just think that there are times when all of the backstory and history are maybe not as valuable to some as we may think they are.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I think that's interesting. I would say I'm thinking of some research I just saw about millennials, which is now the largest group of employees in the workforce. So that what matters to them is really important to organizations. The research shows that they are really focused on the value they provide to society, the good work they do. So wrapping whatever their job is around, hey, we're helping society with finding a cure for the flu, or, making people be able to buy their first home, helping people get the insurance, would appeal to most millennials, according to the research. So, and right. I think there's a dearth of sharing about what's going on in organizations. So if I were going to say to someone, they're like, well, should I explain it to this person or not? I'd say explain. And they can always say, you know what? I don't really care. Just let me do my job.
Here's the thing I think that's interesting about that is I think based on the relationship or perceived relationship, I often think that sometimes we don't ask, we don't share that we're just like, okay, I guess my role is to sit here and listen to what they have to say. When all I really want to do is just go do my job. I want to get this task done because once I do that, I can go and do all the other things I have to do. Or, it's like you hand somebody this at the end of the day and you can explain to that or near the end of the day and say, hey, I need this by the end of the day. And so the only way I'm getting out of here is once I get this done. So the longer you talk to me and give me all this background detail.
I'm not saying giving them the whole company story. I'm talking about it could be 2 sentences.
I understand. And I think this is one of my pet peeves.
Okay, here we go.
That
I didn't know I touched a nerve so easily
not
today.
Necessarily. I just think I think we often go with, and I value the concept of research in that regard. And yet that does not define every person who is considered a millennial.
And I agree more.
I think that's a key piece in all of this is that, yes, there are tendencies. Yes, most of our employees are like this. And I think when we get in that mindset, we forget that everyone is unique. And we go to the most. We teach to this is where everyone is. We act based on this is where someone tells us that the majority of the people, the research tells us, valuable information, helpful to know as a general concept. And yet I think when we get in trouble is when we assume everyone who falls into that demographic fits that mold, rather than trying to really understand how does each individual person, and so my thing might be is, all right, when I'm sharing information with you, what's helpful to you? Do you want me to give you details on how it's been done in the past? Do you want to know why it's important in the overall part of the organization? Do you want to hear the long history backstory? And really taking the time to understand with all the people we interact with, especially when you're doing something like asking them to do something, how they feel about it. Do you feel like if I ask you to do this, you can't say no? Because I would imagine in a lot of roles, there are people who would be like, yeah, I would never question doing this. I would never say I'm too busy because I feel like you're in a supervisory role. You're asking me to do this. I'm just going to do it no matter what else I have going on. So I think I just am really trying to be aware of those. Here is what a demographic looks like. Here is what a group of people, here's what the average is of this, or here's what's common. And while that's valuable, I think it's also critical to remember each person is individual and isn't necessarily going to fit the norm.
Okay. Wow. Didn't see that coming down the pike.
I don't think I did either. I wouldn't have necessarily thought, although as I was thinking about requests, that goes back to that, what's the relationship? And what do we think the relationship is, and what is the perceived relationship? I mean, I would imagine there, you hear all about honey-do lists, right? And every relation is different. So one side or the other might be like, hey, here's your list, without considering what else do they have on their list.
Right.
Without considering all the other things that are going on. And within some of those relationships, whatever that might be, it just becomes like, okay, here's my list. I'll go do it. Didn't really matter what I had going on. So I think that those are just things for us to be aware of. And I guess maybe I would get into, that's my one thing, is that as you think about requests, be sure to consider, where is the other person at who is being requested to do something, and more than just what is their demographic, what is, consider the relationship, consider everything they have going on, and going from there.
I was merely giving some general guidance. I wasn't saying that we were locked down, that you had to do these things, because the research of millennials shows this, just so we're clear.
And I wasn't discounting that. I was trying to just say,
okay,
as you think, I think it's easy for us to do that. I guess I think the fallback is, oh, they're a millennial, so this is the way we should work with them. And I know millennials who aren't like the norm.
Right. I do too.
So that was it. Yep. I was just saying that I think that's.
So
what's your one thing?
I think my one thing would be that request, rather than requesting something, maybe a dialogue about what that looks like. What, where does this fit in the priority list? How can we best achieve it? Instead of telling someone what to do, having the discussion about how it can be accomplished.
Sure. I like it. I think that is valuable.
Okay. Awesome.
All right, everyone. If you have one thing you'd like to share, or if you want to jump in on this whole, I like it when we go on other sides. I don't think you like it very much, but I like it.
I do not. It is very uncomfortable, and it came out of nowhere, but that's okay.
Here's a thing to consider. I mean, I think if it's uncomfortable, that's just what's real for me. And you shared what's real for you. I think, it's interesting because sometimes when we do that, everybody gets uncomfortable because they feel like one side is right. And if you say anything against it, well, you're saying I'm not right.
No, I think it was a great discussion. I agree with you more than my initial comments portrayed. That's my frustration.
Well, it's all things that we discover, right? You had not thought about it until I shared. Again, the value of sharing what's real for us is it allows people to pause and be like, well, I hadn't really thought of that. And I think that to me is the beauty of, if I was to go back, even though I really love my celebration, I would share that one of the things, I'm going to have to do this again. This is going to head me down in a bad path. On Monday, when I was meeting with that a couple of other group of people that I know is
Oh, you just
not great to share. One of the things that I shared as a celebration, or I think it was a celebration, or it was like a lesson learned, was to me the value of having conversations, and that the fact that for the last 600 and or 500 and 471 episodes, we've had the opportunity to talk about concepts. And for me, that has solidified a lot of what's real for me. And I also know that it has changed throughout those 471 episodes in every conversation. And it just reinforces the value of doing this every day, every weekday, allows me to think differently, at least consider a different perspective, because I've been shared different knowledge or different experience. And I think that is something that I very much value.
Oh, me too. And John Hansen says, I'd like to share people are watching you more than you think. I don't know if he means that in general or about our program. But if it's about
it's
it,
just
could be
sharing
both.
what's real.
There you go. There you go. So, Tom, do you want to ride the train towards the station on this one and conduct our way there?
Certainly.
Okay.
I will try to herd us down that.
I wish I'd thought of that. Oh, it was right there.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us today. Again, if you have one thing you'd like to share, please feel free to share it in the comments or jump into our Ring of Renegades Facebook group and you can share it there. I think it's your ideas will be of value to someone else. And as John shared, is that we don't always know who's paying attention. Just like the 5 people that you might send a note to of how influential they were in your life, they might not know that. And while they might know that they may have played some role, they might not always know how large a role that was. So we would appreciate any feedback or thoughts you have on that. And you can share it inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If you are not yet a member of that very exclusive, outstanding group of people, over 1,100 strong. So I'm not sure. Maybe that doesn't mean it's exclusive. I don't know.
Oh, well, if you think of how many entrepreneurs are out there,
not true.
Business leaders, owners, we've got a very elite crowd.
There we go. So
lawyers, travel agents, insurance brokers, graphic designers, vehicle repair business. We got a whole lot going on there.
There is a whole lot going on there. So if you want to come be a part of the fun and have conversations like this with others who are trying to help each other take their next step along their own unique pathway to success, please just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, then ask to join. And all you have to do is tell us how or why you're a renegade, and then you can become a part of that growing community. So with that, we hope that we will see you inside of that group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegading you and get those cats going in the same direction. It's important. Good luck with that.
But it's really a metaphor.
It's a metaphor. Yeah. Yes.
So get all those people who can't decide where to go to dinner together. Lead them.
Yeah. There you have it.
Have a great day. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.